This is from Victor Hemsley.
Victor Hemsley.
How can people claim Star Wars fatigue is already set in after one movie a year while Marvel pumps out 3 movies a year and is still doing great?
Well, Victor, the fact of the matter is that those 3 Marvel movies that come out a year are different. They have different genres for the most part. They have different characters. They have different tones to them that sort of bounce around. So, for example, this year you have Black Panther, you have Infinity War, and you have Ant-Man and the Wasp, which are 3 radically different movies from one another. Yes, they all have superhero movies.
Did you say Thor?
Thor was in the fall. But if you want to throw in Thor, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Thor was November. Let's throw in Thor. Let's throw in Thor as well.
Just it'll definitely
4 radically different movies in tone, in style, in setting, and in terms of what type of movies they are. Thor is like a space action comedy. Black Panther is a sort of action thriller with some sort of political side to it. Infinity War is a gigantic, bombastic action film that's insanely huge in scale. And Ant-Man the Wasp is a smaller action comedy heist movie, so to speak.
Yeah, they all have action, but I mean that's really the only linking. It's the only thing that links them.
Yes.
And when you look at something like Thor, the action was pretty mild as well. One of the things that I loved so much about Ragnarok was, and I said it immediately as the movie finished because I was so worried that they were going to kill it, was the end of Thor Ragnarok, the final battle, because there's always got to be a final battle, was like, it was an afterthought. It was just like...
It was still big, though, but you're right,
yeah, but it was succinct. It was like 10 minutes. It didn't hamper the ending. It didn't act like it had to be there. It was exactly what it needed to be.
Sure. But the difference is that, like comic books, these are all different comic books. They all, when you buy an Ant-Man comic book or a Thor or a Spider-Man, they all are different. They're not cookie cutter. Star Wars movies are almost cookie cutter. Now that we've had 3, 6, 8, 10 Star Wars movies, not counting the TV movies, you know what you're getting when you watch a Star Wars movie. You know exactly what you're going to get. You're getting stormtroopers, you're getting TIE fighters and X-Wing type crafts, and you're getting a fucking lightsaber. A lightsaber in every... I haven't seen the Han Solo movie. Is there a lightsaber in it? If not, that'd be the first Star Wars movie without a fucking lightsaber, because they managed to put it in Rogue One. You get the lightsabers, and you get lasers, and you get sort of a lower intelligence political sort of scene. It's not that abstract or that complex what's going on. You have good, you have evil, and you get the same movie recycled over and over again. And I think that's what people are tired of, especially when they keep bringing back the same characters. And these movies have not been that different from each other in terms of how they look and feel, and the action isn't that different. So I think that's what the fatigue is. And I think the misstep with the Han Solo movie, because this is the first Star Wars movie that's losing money out of all of them.
Right.
When you look at it. First of all, they put it out only 5 months after another Star Wars movie, which is stupid. They should have waited a full year. They should not have rushed it. And there was trouble with this one. They threw out the directors and got Ron Howard to come in and film a chunk of it. There was trouble with the first standalone movie. I think they have to be really smart with these standalone films to make something interesting, not just saying, oh, we want to see young Yoda. No one wants to see young Yoda. No one wants to see young Han Solo, apparently. You know, is young Kenobi interesting? I don't know. Get Ewan McGregor back, it might be interesting, but can we do something different? I really love the idea that was kibosh when Lucas sold Star Wars of having a Star Wars TV show. I think that would have been extremely interesting because it would have been easier to do off-kilter stories set in the universe, but not all fucking Jedis and not all the same characters, but a different age version of them. Give me something different. Give me a drama of a family, a trading family just existing with the rebellion going on and playing one side against the other. Something a little more complex. And these movies are not complex. They really are not. They're just fantasy films with swords and lasers going on, with a little pastiche of political, intrigue. But it's really just good versus evil. And I think people are at least, in my estimations, be like, okay, it's sort of like the Emperor doesn't have any clothes anymore. Because now it's like, okay, what else can you do with these? At least with these main movies, you can't do that much else. You can't. I mean, with the new movies, the argument I see, which I agree with, I don't understand the level of vitriol with The Last Jedi, but the argument is, to me, pure that the new trilogy almost makes it like the original trilogy doesn't fucking matter anymore because nothing changed. You still have the evil empire versus a rebellion. So what's the point of these new movies? And I totally see that. They should have went in a totally different direction, I thought, and should have said, we're going to start from scratch. Almost. It's almost no point in bringing back the old characters if you're going to do that. Because what they didn't matter in the original trilogy. Unless you want that to be sort of thing like, oh, nothing really matters. What we did didn't matter. Everyone fucking dying didn't matter. Here we are again. So I think that's what people are tired. I think they're starting to realize that there's not a lot of substance to this stuff. I mean, I knew that as a Star Wars fan going back. And the prequels to me showed that there wasn't any substance to this. But the new movies, I think people are just like, okay, what can we do differently? So, they announced a new trilogy that's going to be totally separated from Skywalker. So I'm like, okay, that could be interesting. But then is that really Star Wars? Or that's just a totally different story?
Well, no, that can totally be Star Wars, I think.
But if it's a different part of the galaxy, not related, then is it really Star Wars? I mean,
shared tech, shared races, shared weapons, stuff like that.
Well, from my read, it's different part of the galaxy or a different galaxy that it's, I don't know. Either way, to me, it's like that becomes like Dune at that point. I don't know. You have any thoughts about the people getting burnt out or not caring as much? Or I mean, people will always care about Star Wars. Don't get me wrong. But
I mean, all I would say is I don't have that. I don't know that my thoughts on it are quite that intense. I would say that maybe a lot of because I think some of the things that you've said about Star Wars do actually apply to Marvel movies. I think the problem is Star Wars is, as you said, a bit more singular in focus. And I think some of the burnout comes from there's been a lot of fallout over some of the past Star Wars movies, starting with The Force Awakens. It's been very the clash of old fans, new fans, if you want to call them fans, old fans, new fans, the people who are constantly bickering. I think it's so maybe in the public eye of the people who pay attention to this stuff that they're just getting sick of hearing about Star Wars in general.
I think that's part of it. I think that the fact that these new movies hasn't had a singular vision, even though it was a disaster in execution, Lucas had a vision for the prequels. For these new movies, there is no fucking vision. When you hear J.J. Abrams say like, "Oh yeah, we wrote about Snoke and Rey, but we didn't. We just wrote it for a movie. We had no idea where it would go after that." So then Rian Johnson comes in and does whatever the fuck he wants, and now J.J. comes back for the third movie and has to pick up the pieces from the end of the second one. And that's not how you do a multi-billion-dollar franchise. You better have an idea of where their story is going before you do this, or you can potentially have these people that are like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Going from movie to movie, and because they are, when you look at them individually, The Force Awakens is like, yeah, you can say, yeah, it's a retread of Star Wars. Then you go to The Last Jedi, and it's different. I'm not saying different is bad, but what are we doing movie to movie here? And I don't think the directors don't know, or at least people behind it don't know. They're just like softballing it out there. You can do whatever you want with it, but you have to be careful. At least with Marvel, they know exactly what each movie is years before it's going to come out. They know exactly what that movie's going to be.
Well, I'm not sure we're at that point right now.
With Marvel? Well, no, they know what movies. They gotta wait for this. We know what's going to happen. Oh, they know what's going to happen. They have scripts written, Ian. Come on. They can't say anything.
They do, but
this is going to get weird if this goes for another 6 months, though, and we don't have that merger with Fox and Disney. Then it's going to get weird. They got to have this go lickety split. Because
that's what I'm saying. I mean, this situation could very quickly happen to Marvel.
But you're just talking about the movies that they want to make that they can't until things happen.
Well, I'm sure they have the backup plan in action, but
sure. But they have that secret Fantastic Four script ready to go right here, written by me and Frank. No. Oh, can you imagine a proper Doctor Doom in the MCU? How good that would be.
I do love Doom.
Like it's
a good guy.
An actual good like Human Torch thing combo, and Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman, like warms my heart. God, it's just like God. That would be then I could die, let alone Frank. I could fucking die. So that's the quintessential Marvel comic. Is Fantastic Four. Anyway.